All right, so this is my interactive journal. My name is Jenna Williams, and I did my literacy intervention module on Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Chapter 1. Title page. And the first page of the literacy intervention module is addressing vocabulary. And as you can see, there are 8 vocabulary words in the journal. Thought that would be really great for the semantics portion of language. On the front, you'll see the words listed. Now, this would have been written by the teacher. Those are already provided. The students have to think in their heads what they think the meaning of the word might be, and then look up the definition, lift the flaps, and write it in here. And I loved the flaps because it was a great way for them to quiz themselves later, almost like a flashcard. And then they could try to remember it and then look at it under here. And then they even got to color the words on the outside. So that was a little artistic element. That was page 2. Page 3 of the journal is one of the graphic organizers that I had turned in. It's a Venn diagram, which was great for them. They got to learn about comparing and contrasting, which was one of the Common Core state standards. They did Harry versus Dudley. Over here, you'll see differences, things that are particular to Harry, things that are particular to Dudley over here, and then things they had in common in the middle. And just an example, Harry is a wizard, Dudley is a muggle. One of their similarities is they both live at number 4 Privet Drive. So the students got to fill that in and learn how to do that. Okay. Page 3 of the journal. This is another graphic organizer that I thought was really good. What they did here is learn about summarizing and just kind of retelling in their own words what happened in the story. On top, they had to, which is kind of challenging, they had to summarize the chapter in just one sentence. And what that helped them to do is just to determine what is the most important events, what are the most important things that happened in the chapter. They did the one sentence here. On Harry's 12th birthday, the Dursleys hosted a business dinner instead of celebrating Harry. No one wished him a happy birthday, and Harry received a surprise guest. Now, this is the completed one, as if the student has done it. Then, the next element of this graphic organizer had them think about the most important events in the story. So all of this, they're thinking about what's most important and what can I leave out. So most important events, Harry's birthday, he misses his friends, no one wishes him a happy birthday, etc., etc. And then down here, this is kind of giving them a prompt, a first, then, next, last, thinking about what happened in the story in a first, next, then, last order, but still thinking about what was the most important thing that happened first. And at the end of it, you can read it all together, and it could be a paragraph. So it was helping them to form a paragraph, and you could read it in that order. Okay. Next page of the interactive journal is about compliments, which I thought would be great to address the area of pragmatics of language. In the chapter, the Dursleys are expecting visitors that are, I believe, doing business with Mr. Dursley. And he talks to Aunt Petunia and has her practice giving compliments to the man's wife that is to be coming. So she goes and says, "Oh, I hear you're a wonderful, wonderful golfer, Mrs. Mason, and oh, you'll have to tell me where you got those shoes." So she's talking about complimenting. So I thought it would be great to discuss that here as well. Up here in Chapter 1, Mr. Dursley tells Mrs. Dursley to compliment their guests and had her practice complimenting others. Below you will find some compliments and some insults. Color the compliments green and the not-so-compliments red. And up here I just have the definition of a compliment for them, a polite expression of praise or admiration. So they actually got to color the compliments green and the insults red. And to check their work, they get to lift the flap and see if they're right. Oh, compliment green, I got it right. Or insult, let's see, I colored this one red, let me see if I'm right. Then you just lift the flap, insult, red. All right, and at the bottom was just kind of a do-it-yourself thing. I gave them an opportunity to come up with 3 compliments of their own. Next, we have a spelling page. So these are all words from this story. I picked more of a simple word just to focus more on the phonology part of it. What sounds do the letters make and things like that. So I gave them 3 choices of the way the words were spelled. They had to circle the correct form of the spelling of the word, and they had to come and write it over here. So up here you'll see house, house, and house. You had to circle the correct spelling and then write it to the side. And I thought that would be great for their phonology area of language. And next page, this is root words. I was hoping to target morphology here and to think about the root words, what they mean, to help them figure out in their future readings when they see unfamiliar words, they can use the knowledge of root words to help determine the meaning of the word. So what I did, the teacher will have written words. This one says vacant, and the student has to define it on the inside of the petal. And so here's the definition, and then the next word, vacate, and the definition, vacuum, the definition, and evacuate, and the definition on the inside, and then vacation, and the definition on the inside of that. And they all open up, and you see that it's a flower, and the root word for all of the words we defined on the petals was vac, which means empty or at leisure. So in the future, whenever they see words containing the word vac, they can think, oh, that must have something to do with being either empty or doing something at leisure. And then the next page also addressed morphology and root words. So it's the same thing. Teacher provides the words to define, and student gets to define it on the inside of each petal. And I think I forgot to mention this on the last page, but the students actually got to color the flower themselves. So that just kind of gave it a little fun element, little creativity. They got to color the flower. Okay? So uncle, definition. Under, definition. Unfinished, in the definition. Unravel, definition. And unworthy, definition. And unanimous, in the definition. And you'll see the root word on all of these words was un, which means not or none. And that's a prefix for a lot of words. So that would be the root of those. They all had that in common. And so, like I say, the students get to define it and color the flower. Last page of the interactive journal was about subject-verb agreement. Now, I thought this would be a great way to address syntax. The exact grammar we were targeting in this worksheet was the words do and does. So they had to read each of these sentences and fill in the correct word. Is it do or is it does? And all of these words pertain to Harry Potter Chapter 1. So, for example, the Dursleys do not want Harry to be a wizard. And it just goes on and they get to fill it in. And that concludes the interactive journal. I thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.